The next step is align pillow block bearings along with the pillow blocks. Now, I'm going to diverge from the text here. We're going to do a slight divergence from text. And instead, we're going to use, instead of that 1-inch bearing, we're going to use the 1/2-inch bearing, or 5/8 bearing, I should say. Same as we use in lap 4. Reason for that being is that the pillow block bearings in our lab station, the clamps aren't strong enough to hold the bearing in place for the torque that we're going to put onto it. So we're going to resort to, instead, the 8-inch version of the 1/2-inch. Here in my hand, I use a 1-foot version. It gives me a little bit more space out here, but the 1/2-inch is good enough for your purposes. Now, also, you should make a note here. This is a 3.6-inch sheath. It should be a 2-inch sheath for lap 4 of drive systems, but any sheath mounting is exactly the same way. We'll leave it this way it is. And again, 8-inch sheath, 8-inch shaft rather than the 12-inch shaft that I have here, but definitely use the 5/8 diameter and not the 1-inch diameter. And so the pillow block bearings are all going to be exactly the same as you had in lap 3. Now, of course, the steps is to line up your pillow block. Your bearing goes on top, and remember, the clamp end goes facing towards each other. So the clamp ends always go facing towards where my hand is. We drop these down from above. This is a 4-inch, 3/8-inch screw, and I'd go hand tighten, flat washer, head, underneath the table, be flat washer first, then lock washer, then finally hex head nut, and I would say about almost finger tight. Again, maybe back off half a thread so that you still have some movement area, because we still have to line the shaft all together with the motor shaft. And I would go ahead and proceed to do that with the rest of the hardware. Dropping the bolts in, and from there we'll progress with the shaft. Now, for bolt systems in place, next part is to install the shaft and slide it through the holes in the pillow bearing. First one bearing, then put both rings in place, then slide through to next bearing shaft, and this is why you want your bearings loose, to get rid of all inloading so you have plenty of space here to move with. So you want to have these kind of free floating to make sure you can maximize your spacing here. Once you've done that, and I'd keep them free floating, frankly, we'll have the shaft in so it just about lines up with the motor going straight to the shaft in. Our next step here is to level the shaft. I'll refer you to details in lap 3 where we talk in detail about how to level this, shim ratio of mounting distance versus level distance, whether you use the center, the back end, or the front end, whichever is most convenient, frankly. If you use the front end, for instance, you can get away with using the channelized level again and look over the top to see if you're level, and make the adjustment with shimming underneath the pillow block just above the bed plate to level the motor out. I'm going to go ahead and make the adjustment, and we'll continue on with the next step after that, which will be to mount the sheath. And the next step then is going to be a key and the 4-inch sheath. Same rule, the 4-inch sheath as it was on the motor. We're going to do with that is the key goes in the key slot. And then we're going to use our Allen wrench. And with the set screw, back out the set screw to have a clear spot on the key seat. And again, the key seat side goes towards the pillow block. So we slide that onto the shaft and trying to keep our shaft in and sheave in flush. And we tighten down the set screw, which should be tightening down upon the key and not the shaft. And we turn, and eventually turn off, and we should set. You'll feel a little bit of a tug, a snug tug, so to speak. We tighten down, and now the sheath, just like it was on the motor shaft, the sheath is now on a load shaft, the driven shaft. So now we have in our system here, back out. You can see motor sheath, shaft, still all very loose to assemble. And we're going to do next, we're not going to tighten these down yet, or tighten down the sheath. We're going to leave a little bit of hand tighten, I'd say hand snug, not hand tighten, so we can still move this assembly around. We're going to move this assembly around to align up these sheaths using a straight edge. And that's our next step, is the alignment of the sheaths.